never get to know whether or not we would have loved them or hated them.
That's a damn shame.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movies that were never made.
Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge ASAP. Better follow me.
For this list, we're taking a look at films, or rather proposed films, that never made it all the way to theaters.
I'd be Vic Vega from Dogs. And
yes, you would.
John would be Vincent, and we were supposed to be brothers, and then make a picture together called The Vega Brothers.
These are the movies that were either pitched to studios or even entered production before the plug was pulled entirely. Considering the types of projects and the individuals involved, there stands a chance that these movies could have either been iconic or major flops. You be the judge.
You don't have any idea what you're talking about. These people bust their ass. This is a hard job.
Number 10. Tim Burton's Superman Lives.
I gotta find a job where I can keep my ear to the ground.
It was 1996 when Kevin Smith of Clerks fame pitched a script for a Superman movie.
And I will not allow anyone to prevent me from carrying it out.
And while his original idea was bastardized into some bizarre Star Wars Wild Wild West hybrid, wherein the Man of Steel would fight a giant spider, the project moved forward. Tim Burton was signed as director, with Nicolas Cage as the Big Blue Boy Scout.
You know I'm not gonna stop.
And we gotta admit, with their dark and wacky ways, a Burton-Cage joint may have been a good fit. But yada yada yada, $30 million later, the project just faded into obscurity.
Can you think of anything else you'd rather spend it on? Oh my gosh, that is cool.
Here.
Number 9. Quentin Tarantino's The Vega Brothers.
But you know what's on my mind right now? It ain't the coffee in my kitchen.
Tarantino's no stranger to interconnected universes or production problems.
Is that a fact?
With his Western follow-up to Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, going through ups and downs on its way to fruition. However, he'd also planned, but failed, to tie together two of his most famous films.
What the f*** you talking about?
Double V Vega would have focused on the Vega brothers. Vic, played by Michael Madsen in Reservoir Dogs, and Vincent, played by John Travolta in Pulp Fiction.
Marvin, what do you make of all this?
Man, I don't even have an opinion.
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
But considering their respective character arcs and the current ages of the actors, this one's likely shelved permanently.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Number 8. Jerry Lewis's The Day the Clown Cried.
I was broke and sharing a room with 12 people I didn't know.
You laugh about it?
I have to laugh.
Though completed, this film never made it to theaters, and by all accounts, that's a good thing. Lewis reluctantly plays a German clown in a concentration camp during World War II. We say reluctantly because he worried his humor wouldn't work with the dark subject matter. He was right. Those who've seen the film say it's a disaster from start to finish, with misplaced jokes hitting all the wrong notes. Legal stickiness and Lewis's embarrassment about the film were the final nails in its coffin, and it's never been released. Number 7. Paul Verhoeven's Crusade.
Assemble the army!
It would have been a gritty, action-packed look at the Crusades, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Me.
and with Total Recall director Paul Verhoeven at the helm.
All preparation, everything you have done before is nothing in comparison to shooting a movie.
It's said that sets were already being built on location in Spain when Verhoeven suffered a breakdown at a budget meeting for the film, effectively nixing any prospects of the project moving forward. And with a budget of $100 million back in 1994, who can blame him?
Shit.
Another theory suggests Carolco Pictures pulled funding to pay for another of their blockbusters instead, the mega flop Cutthroat Island.
You shame me, lass. I don't like that.
Number 6. Robert Bresson's Genesis.
How blessed are the sorrowful! They shall find consolation.
Referred to as the patron saint of cinema, renowned French director Robert Bresson set his sights on creating an extravagant, expansive epic film version of the Bible's Book of Genesis. And he was the perfect man for the job, as he was known for his impact on the art of filmmaking and for his penchant for Catholic subject matter.
Hands up, all those who don't want to be crucified here. Right, next!
But after securing financing once and then a second time, Bresson scrapped the project for good, partly because he was unable to make the animals on set do his bidding.
Snakes are coming too?
All the clothes, all the slippers.
Number 5. Alfred Hitchcock's Frenzy, also known as Kaleidoscope.
Oh, him. You duffed him up, I hope. He's a bastard.
Though Hitchcock did make a film called Frenzy, it was not this movie. One of many Hitchcock films that didn't make it to the big screen. This one was a little too risque for the studio.
Lew Wasserman felt that Kaleidoscope Frenzy would do irreparable harm to the Hitchcock franchise. That Hitchcock, the director, and the marketable entity would basically come to an end if he made this film.
Told through the eyes of a bodybuilder who just so happens to be a serial killer, the story would have revolved around his sexual escapades, murder spree, and eventual downfall. Hitchcock even got some silent test footage down before the studio pulled the plug altogether due to its explicit material.
But I hate to even think about it.
Number 4. Alejandro Jodorowsky's Dune.
He who controls the spice controls the universe.
10 years before David Lynch's 1984 version of Frank Herbert's novel was complete, there was a more psychedelic vision of the story in the works. Chilean director Alejandro Jodorowsky had lofty aspirations for the material and wanted the film to be reminiscent of an hallucination.
I want to create a prophet to change the young mind of all the world.
And with Mick Jagger and Salvador Dali on the roster, and Peter Gabriel and/or Pink Floyd handling the music, he was on the right track. However, after over 1/5 of the budget was expended during pre-production of what would have been a 14-hour film, production stalled permanently.
Please excuse me if I can't talk about it.
Number 3. Peter Jackson's Halo.
We have 3 survivors.
I've alerted command.
Let's go.
Fans of this popular video game series have been waiting since 2005 for the film adaptation of their beloved franchise to finally make it to screen. And come on, it's meant to happen. The battle between aliens and humans will never get old.
Am I right, Marines?
Sir, yes, sir!
Damn right I am.
Unfortunately, the project was hampered by an escalating budget and Microsoft's iron grip on the creative output, as well as the company's upfront financial demands. With Peter Jackson signed on to produce, Halo could have potentially been a blockbuster.
Why are you stopping? Are you waiting for your fancy mommy to come and finish it for you? That looked like slow motion to me.
Instead, it fell victims to the politics of the industry. Number 2. Orson Welles' Heart of Darkness.
Can't ever give me anything I really care about.
While his retelling of Don Quixote also remains unfinished, it's Welles' take on Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness that intrigues us.
Rosebud.
Before he revolutionized the film industry with his legendary Citizen Kane, Welles had another film in the chamber. Unfortunately, he never got it off the ground.
You may, if you can form such a committee, put me down for a contribution of $1,000.
After tests were shot and the film was planned, Heart of Darkness was canceled by studio executives due to an overinflated budget.
It wouldn't work.
Of course, audiences did get to see Conrad's novel modernized in Apocalypse Now, but we wonder what could have been.
You're fired.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
The only way you can fail in life, the only risk you can take, is that when you die, you say, oh, I wish I had done that.
It's been picked at over the years. People have borrowed a lot of stuff from it, but the essence of Rendezvous with Rama is still there.
I've said this to a few different people. I don't know if I've said it to everybody, but I do think it's going to be great. I think everybody's got a good sense of humor. Everybody's smart. Everybody's good at their job. And you, with any luck, will protect me from making an utter fool of myself.
It's about a really big fat guy named Ignatius, who's stubborn. He's got a medieval perspective. He thinks the entire world is doing it incorrectly, and his way is the highway.
Number 1. Stanley Kubrick's Napoleon.
So there's the great thief of Europe himself.
Fresh off his triumph 2001 A Space Odyssey, director Stanley Kubrick set his sights on developing a sweeping story about the notorious French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte.
That's good news, this slap on the walls of Paris.
He surveyed locations, wrote a script draft, cultivated extensive background info, settled on actors, and got all his ducks in a row before hitting a wall in production. The film was ultimately shelved for a number of reasons, including financial limitations and the poor response to another Napoleon-based movie. It's too bad, too, because Kubrick claimed this would have been the best movie ever made.
I wonder what history will say of them.
Do you agree with our list? What do you think is the greatest film that was never made?
We happy?
Yeah, we happy.
For more entertaining top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
I'd make my promises now if I weren't too busy arranging to keep them.